I think, now Dr. Paul had to leave. You got to remember, folks, he is running a statewide campaign in 120 counties, so he had to move along to somewhere else today. But if Ryan Quarles is still here, yeah, there's Ryan and Andy Barr. And I think what we'll do, someone's texting me. My football team won. And then UK tonight, gonna try to knock off South Carolina. Andy? Is Andy still here? There's Andy, very good. So how about this, folks? If you want to ask a question of our mayor, our next state representative, and our next congressman, come on up here. Now's your chance. Now remember, the three men that these folks are running against have refused to debate. That's right? Yeah. No show Ben, no show Charlie, no show Varney. These folks are not afraid to talk to the public. Good, bad, indifferent, to take the heat. So come on up if you've got a question. Here we go. Come on up here, sir. Please state your name and where you're from and who are your questions for.
And Roy Tudor, Georgetown. Got one for each one of you. Ryan, like your view on right to work. And then for Andy, how are you going to be able to, or what would you put forward to try to rein in the EPA, cut off funding, or Obama seems to be going around some of this stuff by getting people funded through the Fed. What can we do to fight it?
Does that microphone work up there? Go ahead, you guys use that one. Take that off the stand. By the way, your question on right to work, you're looking at the one state senator who has filed a right to work bill in the Kentucky General Assembly right here.
Right. Thank you for the question. I would be proud to sponsor a bill that would make Kentucky a right to work state. Look at the new school that we just built out on Frankfurt Road. It's believed that you could save 20% the prevailing wage as well, along with right to work, save construction costs when it comes to building capital projects in Kentucky. But I would be proud to sign my name to a bill. Yes.
Good question. The EPA is totally out of control. It is interfering with our agriculture sector and clearly has got the coal industry of Kentucky in its crosshairs. The president is waging a war on coal in eastern Kentucky. This threatens the 17,000 men and women who work directly in our coal mines, and it also threatens all of the jobs, the 3 jobs that are created for every one coal mining job. Okay? They were not able to get the cap and trade bill through the Senate. But your question was, what about the overregulation of mining activities by the EPA? They have a proposed water conductivity standard that has basically shut down all of the surface mining activities in central Appalachia. The standard is so ridiculous that if you went out to Hamburg or got tap water, the tap water wouldn't meet their conductivity standard. The permitting, all of the 404 permits that would allow for new mining operations to occur, they've been totally shut down. What they call enhanced coordination procedures, which is EPA buzzword for a moratorium on additional mining activity. Not only is this threatening the jobs, but it's threatening Kentucky and its prosperity, which is rooted in its low-cost energy. Our ace in the hole in Kentucky is the fact that we have the 4th lowest industrial utility costs in the country. That's one of the main reasons Toyota located right here. So what do we do about it? Well, if we take back the Congress, if we take back the House of Representatives, number one thing we've got to do is exercise our subpoena power, bring Lisa Jackson in front of the committee, and ask her the tough questions. What authority do you have to do what you're trying to do? None. And the other thing is, this is a constitutional problem. The Congress has ceded far too much authority to the executive branches, and now the executive branches are engaged in lawmaking when the Constitution gives the lawmaking function to the Congress. So we've got to evaluate that. And finally, I would co-sponsor legislation Two bills. Number one, legislation that would deprive the EPA of any regulatory authority to do what they're doing and enact a cap-and-trade style regulatory model through administrative law. And secondly, I would co-sponsor the RAINS Act. Congressman Jeff Davis in the 4th Congressional District represents the northern part of Scott County. Congressman Davis is a leader in regulatory reform in the United States House of Representatives. I will co-sponsor his bill called the RAINS Act, which says that if a proposed regulation has an economic impact in excess of a threshold amount, then that proposed rule has to go back in front of the Congress, and Congress then has to approve the rule in order for it to go into effect. That would give Congress responsibility and the ability to stop all of this job-killing regulation.
Does that answer your question? All right, this is Randy Walters with Coal Fed Families, and he wants to make a statement about coal and its importance to Kentucky.
I want to tell you that no matter what the laws, the rules, the regulations are, what the Clean Water Air Act, Water Act, the Clean Water Act, Clean Water Air, what they say, what we are experiencing in eastern Kentucky is an absolute aversion from the law, and the levels are being set on all of the testing by the EPA. It is their way, and they have informed Congress that they were doing this, that they were going to enforce cap and trade with or without the Congress of the United States. And that is bringing our industry to the point right now. We have a biologist who does the testing work for coal mining interests there, and he said that a test that they could have run previously in 2 weeks and it cost $150 to do all of it is now a 2-month ordeal that costs the coal companies $1,500. Now what that does is it raises the price of the coal. Eventually this is going to have to come from somewhere, and it is also raising the levels to, like Andy said, to be on the point of being able to meet them. The 3 to 500 microohms, I got to think of all this terminology, microohms per centimeter that they are calling on for water conductivity. 3 to 500 microohms per centimeter. You can go to any convenience store, buy a bottle of Propel energy drink, take that to a lab and have it tested, and it's over 1,200. But they want ours to be 3. You can buy that energy drink, don't take it to eastern Kentucky and pour it out on a mine site. You violated federal law if you do that. Now you can drink it, that's okay, just don't let it get into the water.
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you all. Andy Barr.
Thank you, Mr. Walters. We've got to move it along here because Andy's got another function. He's running in 18 counties, 16 counties, a lot of counties. Please state your name, where you're from, and ask your question.
Andy, my name is Douglas Roy, and my question has to do with illegal immigration. I wonder if you become a congressman in the United States, what will you do to stop illegal immigration? And what will you do to stop the mobile Mexican consulates traveling throughout our state?
Good question. The federal government has completely abdicated its responsibility in this area. And as a matter of constitutional law, I can tell you this, that state governments like Arizona have concurrent jurisdiction, in my judgment, over this issue. And when the federal government fails to do its job, state governments have the constitutional authority, the police power, to do what the federal government has refused to do, and that is enforce the law. We just have to have a Congress that's willing to enforce the laws that are on the books. I think we ought to make sure that the local and state governments have that 287G authority to process local law enforcement, basically to deputize law enforcement to enforce federal immigration law and expedite those deportation proceedings. We've got to make sure that we adequately fund our border patrol and border security. And yes, that's a major problem with these roving consulates. But I'll tell you this, to me the tragedy of illegal immigration is not that we have people who want to come to this country. This country is a great place, and it provides economic opportunity, or at least it used to. we've got to provide a bright line distinction between illegal immigration and legal immigration. Because it's unfair to the legal immigrants, the people who come here for the American dream and make their lives and the lives of their kids and their grandkids with better opportunity for people to cut in line. And so that's what we've got to focus on. Thank you all very much. I've got to run. We've got another function, but I appreciate the opportunity to be with you. Work hard over the next 16 days, and we'll take our country back. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Andy. Good luck. Scott County's going to go for you on November 2nd.
Joe here in Scott County. Question. All right. Quarles. Ryan, this is a question for you as a state representative you're running for. First of all, thank you and both, Mr. Barr, for running. I heard him especially talk about the Constitution. That's great. But as you know, just real quick preface to my question, the states existed before the federal government. Agreed? Okay, so they created the government. So they are, the federal government is the creature, and we have the creator of the states. And there's a pretty big movement now, although you won't hear about it in the media, of state nullification. Have you heard of this, first of all? Yes? No? And are you, if I were to ask you to basically quote, I hate to put you on the spot, but it's real important, I think, to a lot of people, to give the gist of the 10th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, would you be able to do that if I put you on the spot? The 10th Amendment?
Absolutely. 10th Amendment, sovereignty rights towards the states. Those powers not reserved for the federal Congress go back towards the states. I would be proud to stand with Stan Lee and co-sponsor a state sovereignty bill to assert our rights as the Commonwealth of Kentucky and get the federal government off our back.
That was my next question. That was really the gist of it. You stole the not any thunder, but I'm very, very happy to hear that because that's going to take courage because the federal government has the might. Although I think if we as states stand up to the federal government, they'll back down. But we got to have a few leaders up there who have the courage. And to hear you say that you got my vote. Thanks for running.
I want to remind you too, we tried to pass sovereignty resolutions in the House and the Senate. We tried to do it as a constitutional amendment, and the Democrats blocked it in the Senate, and they never called it up for a vote in the House. That's why we need more Republicans in the House like Ryan, and if you live in a district where you can vote for a Republican state senator this fall, do that because we need more numbers. Now you have a question for Ryan, sir.
Yes, Ryan. Somewhat the same question regarding illegal immigration in our state. I'm estimating right now that there are probably close to upwards of 300,000 illegals in the state of Kentucky. They're taking jobs from our people, and they are taking free money from the government. And we have forms even that are allowing them to sign up for things that they shouldn't be getting. What will you do as a state legislator to try to stop that?
Thank you. And to echo Andy, the United States is the only country that I know of that rewards illegal behavior. The second you cross our border, you get free health care, you get free education, and meanwhile, we don't even know. We don't know how many, that was an estimate. We don't know how many illegal immigrants are here. At the same time, my grandmother immigrated here from Australia. She met my grandfather who fought as a Marine in Guadalcanal, and he brought her back, and she followed the rules. She went through the paperwork, she went through the hula hoops, become an American citizen, and it's unfair to people like her that others get the cut corners. I wouldn't mind looking at a provision perhaps similar to what's going on in Arizona, to assert our rights, because the federal government isn't doing it, and it's not only is it costing taxpayers, you all who follow the rules, but it's also becoming a security issue here in Kentucky.
Any more questions? You gotta stay, I'll come to you. I could be a game show host at another level.
Just one thing, they tell us that we can't call them illegal aliens anymore. We have to call them undocumented workers. And somebody said here a while back that calling an illegal alien an undocumented worker is about like calling a drug dealer an unlicensed pharmacist.
Well, that's politically correct. You don't impress me as someone who's politically correct, and that's a compliment. Any other questions for our candidates? Any other questions? Anything else? The man holding the flag, by the way, is the first man of Georgetown, the mayor's husband and a great flag holder, Kevin Sains.